This says, my wife and I just turned 70. Our home is almost paid off. We find ourselves wanting to travel more, and we've discussed taking out a HELOC, but I've heard you discuss reverse mortgages, kind of the plus and the minus. And the part that's not on their Art is they said, that the cash flow is okay. They have retirements, and then they have Medicare, or what is it?
Social Security.
Social Security, excuse me. There we go. And at my age, I forget those things. And so they sound like they want to enjoy life, but they don't have enough money to do that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting because again, we run into this kind of scenario fairly often. And so, yeah, what this person is telling us is that, hey, we feel pretty secure financially. We got decent monthly income. But we got all this equity. We want to tap into it to go have some fun, to live life, enjoy your retirement years and travel a lot. That's a great option. So the question is, what's the best way to grab that equity in order to accomplish those goals? And yeah, oftentimes it starts off with somebody in this scenario will contact us and say, hey, I want to get a HELOC. Of course, what you didn't mention, Jeff, it's probably true. Home is almost paid off. So they could have a very modest, small mortgage on it with that maybe they refinanced in 2020, 2021, and they're at 3%. So they're thinking to themselves, well, I don't want to touch that small loan I have. I'll just get a HELOC so we can use that to go travel the world. Well, again, a couple of things to think about there. Number one, to kind of pick up on what I said earlier, in this scenario, I would first look at their small mortgage they have that's almost paid off and look at that versus how much of a HELOC they might be wanting to get. And if the HELOC is going to be a substantial in size compared to their existing modest mortgage that they don't want to pay off, I may very well say, look, as we just said earlier on the other question, you might be better off just refinancing into a new first, pay off that modest, almost paid off existing first, and then use the rest of the money. You'll get it all in a lump sum for your travel kitty, and off you go. But even that probably isn't going to be the best option when you consider the fact that whether you get a HELOC and you keep your existing, modest first mortgage, or just get a new first mortgage, you're going to be incurring a new monthly payment, and certainly going to be more than what you're paying now. And so oftentimes, maybe that's not really the best way to go. And because of the age, as we are pointing out here, just turned 70, this becomes a clear case of looking at a reverse mortgage as a potentially better option. And there's a couple things to think about. There are a couple of reasons why this might make better sense. One may be, especially if that existing modest mortgage amount that's on their home now is of a low rate, the reverse mortgage opportunity could involve getting a second mortgage. So yeah, not a HELOC, but a second mortgage. But this would be a reverse mortgage type second mortgage. We call it the Home Safe Second. What this would allow is the homeowner can keep that modest, almost paid off first mortgage, get a Home Safe Second. That can be the money they use for their travel goals. Now that scenario, they're going to get all the money at once. So they're going to have to park it, in a interest-bearing accounts, or at least earning yield until such time they start, accessing those funds for their travel plans. So that's, part of that scenario. But again, the benefit of the Home Safe Second is you don't make payments on the loan unless you want to. If you don't, the interest accrues to the balance and it will grow over time. So that would be one way to approach this particular scenario. The second obvious way to go would be to get a reverse mortgage that's a first mortgage. The most popular option is the FHA HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. So you would get a new first mortgage, FHA HECM. That would be a reverse mortgage. It would pay off your existing modest, almost paid off first mortgage. And then what you would do is set up the rest of the available loan amount you're going to be getting, set it up as a line of credit so that way it's there ready for you to tap into as you start pursuing your travel plans. In the meantime, until you start more aggressively traveling, that line of credit that you've set up in the FHA HECM reverse mortgage, the unpaid balance, it grows over time. That's a subtle benefit a lot of folks don't realize compared to a traditional HELOC that most people think about. The line of credit in a reverse mortgage, after you've set it up, well, a couple things about that. You're not incurring any interest cost unless you start drawing on that line of credit. And then the other benefit is until you start drawing on that line of credit, that initial line of credit limit, if it has a zero balance on the line of credit, the credit limit's going to grow over time. So that's sort of another benefit that folks don't think about. So as a consequence, that probably may be their best approach in this particular case. But in either event, either a FHA HECM first mortgage, reverse mortgage, or a Home Safe Second reverse mortgage, second mortgage, one of those two options, I would argue, are almost always going to be better than just getting that traditional HELOC or a refinance of your first mortgage with cash out, because that way, with those options, you're incurring a new monthly payment, and you don't have the benefit of deciding whether to make it or not. You have to make that payment. So to avoid all that, avoid that obligation, and be able to make payments only when you want to, if at all, I think these couple of reverse mortgage products I just described are probably a better choice.
Well, I love this. I love this last one that you talked about, because all of a sudden it occurred to me of like, okay, if you get a new first mortgage using the HECM, it pays off my mortgage. So it frees up that money that I was paying to that mortgage. So that could add to my travel plans, if you're my travel budget, and maybe I'm not tapping into the unused portion of that very much. So that's really kind of a cool setup, Art.
Exactly right. That's why I say, I mean, my first thought when I saw this question was, well, yeah, there's the Home Safe Second. If they've got this modest first mortgage, and if it's at a low rate, then the Home Safe Second could be a good option. But when you think about somebody that are in the 70s, and I'm sure their travel plans are going to be extensive and span over maybe several years. So it's not like you need all this money all at once for your travel plans, but you need access to it on demand when you do start the travel. And each trip, you've got to maybe draw some money on, but you're not using up that whole line of credit. So that way you're keeping your accrued interest costs down because you're only using the money gradually over maybe several years as you travel all over the world. So in my mind, that is a really great option that's even better than the Home Safe Second. The Home Safe Second it's kind of like that earlier question we were talking about, buying the office condo. The Home Safe Second, usually that makes more sense if you've got a specific need for the money, because you're going to get it all at once. It's not a line of credit. And so if you have a particular objective, goal, a project, or buying another property, a specific need for a specific amount of money, that's where that Home Safe Second probably makes more sense than this particular scenario.
I think that's great. Good point. Good point.